everybody. Welcome to the 18th Optimism Fractal meeting. So glad that you're here joining us. I'm here with Jason and Abraham and Rosmari and Natalie, Tadas, Hodlon, and Zaal. We're about to play the respect game on our new time, on our new date and time, Thursdays at 17 UTC as well. So hope everybody's having a wonderful time. If anyone wants to say hello or share anything real quick, then feel free. Otherwise, I'll get into the presentation to share a little bit about Optimism Fractal, what we're up to doing here, and what we're going to be doing here today. All right. So welcome to Optimism Fractal. If you're not familiar, you can check out optimismfractal.com. Optimism Fractal is a community that's dedicated to fostering collaboration and awarding public goods creators in the Optimism Collective. And we're growing optimism to create an abundant future and amazing experiences for all. It's a great place to meet optimists. We host weekly events, so you can make friends here and collaborate with really talented innovators, build relationships, and also earn respect, because we play the respect game every week, which is a really profoundly helpful consensus game where everybody shares a little bit what they've been doing and then earns a soulbound token called respect. If you're not familiar with it, then I'll give a little overview and the people in the room can help you as well. Each person gets a chance to promote their work, and we make videos of each event too. So great way to spread the word about what you're doing in optimism and the world. And we're working closely with the optimistic vision too, or to achieve the optimistic vision using tools on the OP stack. So you can learn much more about that at optimismfractal.com. And we host our weekly events. As I said before, we have a new time. We just switched it via a proposal from the Optimism Fractal Council. So previously the events were on Mondays at 17 UTC, and now going forward, they are at Thursdays at 17 UTC. So you can check out lou.ma/optimismfractal to join the events, and encourage you to join and invite your friends. There's amazing people here, and we love to meet more people. So please check it out. And then we also put out weekly messages too on X, Twitter, Farcaster, Discord, governance forum, and so forth. So you can see here, we put out a message on X sharing a bit more about the proposal that was approved from the Optimistics account, which is the team that created Optimism Fractal in the first place. So you can learn more about Optimism Fractal here, and then there's a little thread that shows how Optimism Fractal Council decided to change the time of weekly events, largely because there's a scheduling conflict with the Optimism Grants Council office hours. And so now everybody can join both events easily, and you can see the snapshot or the proposal that was approved on Snapshot to learn more about that. And also, sorry, I just had an alarm going off. And also you can join our planning sessions each week where we have discussions and plan out things like this. So you can learn more there. Also, Rosmari put out a great thread too with some similar stuff on Farcaster, which is built on optimism. And you can also join our Discord to get involved. There's more details where you can learn about the consensus process that we use and how people become council members and vote on things like that. And then also we just released some new videos too. So like I said, we produce videos each week. And so far, we've produced 13 of them, or actually, there's more that you can find in the Discord channel, because that's where we post them before they're fully produced. And we just released a video from the 13th meeting when the council formed. So we talked about the best way to make collective decisions, and that's when we debuted the council. And this was kind of like one of the first big decisions we made about changing the time. So appreciate everybody's participation and support in getting us there, and looking forward to meeting with everybody on Thursdays at 17 UTC going forward. Of course, with all videos, you can check on YouTube. There's timestamps and show notes and so much more that you can learn about as well from each one. But yeah, if you're not familiar with Optimism actually just came with a new website, optimism.io. Recommend check it out. Optimism Collective is building a world that benefits all and owned by none. So there's all sorts of cool stuff you could do to build with Optimism, and there's all sorts of great chains and communities in the super chain. And then all sorts of great apps, like I mentioned, Farcaster and Rainbow and so forth. So lots you can learn about by exploring optimism.io, and recommend that you check it out and learn about it. Optimism is really focused on rewarding public goods creators and creating a sustainable future for the internet. And we also post about optimism to Optimistics, the team that started Optimism Fractal. You can check out optimistics.io, or you can check out blogs and videos and so forth with more details of optimism. What we're going to be doing today is playing the respect game. So the way the respect game works is we're going to go into breakout groups of up to 6 people, between 3 to 6 people each. And then we're each going to take turns to share what we've been doing for 3 or 4 minutes. We're going to share what we've done to help optimism over the past week, but also feel free, if you haven't been here for a while, share a lot more. Or if you want to just introduce yourself, that's very welcome too. Everybody's welcome to just share what they've been doing, even if they're not really, actively contributing to optimism. It's just a great place to share what you're up to and so forth. And then the more that you help optimism, the more respect you earn, basically. So after each person shares what they do for 3 or 4 minutes, then we'll work to reach consensus playing the respect game to see who helped the most, who helped the second most, who helped the third most, and so forth. And then people will earn the non-transferable respect token from there. And there's a lot more you can learn about here. If you want to learn how to play, that's at optimistics.io. But you can feel free to ask the people in your room about that too. And at optimismfractal.com/details, you can learn more about the respect game and the consensus process that we talked about before, and all that different stuff. That's going to be ending at the top of the hour, the respect game. We're going to come back to the community room after that. And then we're going to have a planning session for a half hour where we can just kind of discuss anything related to future of optimism or Optimism Fractal that people want to discuss. In recent weeks, we've been using the Optimism Fractal Notion site, which has a bunch of different projects here and a bunch of different things that we're working on here. And then at the bottom, there's also a topics database too. So we could use that, or we can kind of just see how it goes. And eventually we'll probably make some sort of game people can play. But for now, that's how we're kind of organizing the planning sessions. And feel free to just bring up any topic you want at that point that we can discuss. So that's the presentation there. Thank you everybody for listening. And thanks again for being here. Really appreciate it very much. Hope that everybody is having an awesome time. And I'll start up the breakout rooms now so everybody can get into playing the respect game. All right. Breakout rooms are open. Enjoy.
Zaal's in here. Get me out of here. No, I'm just kidding. What is
I
it?
just missed what you said. It sounded like you said some funny retort. What did you say, Natalie?
I said, Zaal's in here. Get me out of here.
Is this your first time, Natalie, in one of the Optimism Fractals?
Yeah, I can never make it because it was on Mondays, and I have like 800 meetings on Mondays, so this is perfect. I have nothing to do on Thursdays.
Awesome. I love it. I love it.
Yep, very cool. Well, I'm glad the time works out better for you, Natalie. And yeah, that sounds great. What was I gonna say? Oh, it sounds like you two know each other too, Zal and Natalie, from the sound of it, I guess.
Yeah, Zaal and I know each other from a mutual friend, Brandon David, who does some networking events and stuff like that.
Okay, super cool. Well, I'm so glad you could make it, Natalie. I'm looking forward to learning more about you. As I said before we started recording, it seemed like you were up to some really cool stuff with pizza and public goods and stuff like that with Optimism. So curious to hear. If anyone wants to go first and share what they've been doing, then feel free to go ahead. Or if you have any questions, Natalie, too. I know this is your first time. I'm not sure if you've been able to watch any videos, check out the website. So if you have any questions about how it generally works before we get into it, then feel free to ask as well or share any thoughts.
Yeah, maybe a quick scan of I did check out the website and stuff, and I've been attempting to watch all the videos. But just a quick scan of like how like process and how this works would be great, so I don't step outside the basketball lines.
Okay, sounds good. Well,
I'm
yeah,
good for that.
okay, it could be fun to play outside the lines in basketball. Um, so yeah, thank you very much for checking the website and trying to watch all the videos. That's super cool. And basically, the way it works is that here in the breakout rooms, each of us will share what we've been doing to help optimism over the we'll each take about 4 minutes to share what we've been doing to help optimism. And I'm also assigning Zal to this room because I guess Zal has a second account here. Whoops, I just assigned Zal to the wrong room. Sorry about that. Sorry for the distraction. So yeah, basically we should take up to 4 minutes to share what we're doing to help optimism. You can also just introduce yourself generally. And then after we each go, we can each, if we want to ask each other questions or anything like that, then we can. And then we're gonna play the respect game in an app called Fractogram. It works with Telegram. If you have a Telegram account, that would be helpful. And then basically in Telegram, we do polls and we see who helped the most, and we see who helped the second most and the third most, and so forth. And then if we can reach two-thirds consensus by the end of the hour about those rankings, and then we each receive respect. And then there's much more we could do with respect in the future, like vote and be in the council and stuff like that. But that's kind of like the high level overview here. And even if you step out the lines or whatever, then that's all good too.
Okay, thank you. I'm a line stepper just for future reference.
Okay. Sounds good. Me too. I sometimes go over the 4 minute timer. But that's okay though. So feel free to just feel free to just be yourself and have fun with it, and feel free to ask any questions if anything is confusing for you or anything. And hope you enjoy is the most important thing. I see some hearts and some laughs too. Okay, good. Seems like everybody's enjoying it. Does anybody want to go first and share what they've been up to lately? There seems to be some hesitance here. Rosmari looks like she's not sure if she wants to go, or maybe Zal, if you want to lead it. I know you've been updating really interesting stuff with the. Sounds like I've been talking a lot, so I could go first, but I think it'd be better if somebody else talks because I've been kind of going the whole time. So
Okay, then I can go.
okay, sounds good. Thanks, Rosmari.
You're welcome. Are we doing the timer too, or
Yeah, you want to put the timer maybe?
okay? I need to find it. I don't know where it is.
Okay. It should be in the top right. Well, or I can do it though. I have it up. You want me to just turn it on for you?
Okay.
Okay. You ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. I'll put it at 4:20 because there's only four of us here, so we can go a bit longer if we want.
20. Ah, okay. So, hi everyone. Nice to meet you, Natalie. I recognize you from Farcaster, and it's great to see you here. And welcome, Zao and also Dan. And I hope you're having a great day so far, or night. What I've been doing and working on this past week was I worked on producing the Optimism Fractal 13th meeting, which was from a few weeks ago. I worked on the thumbnail, and also I promoted today's event in Discord and the Optimism Fractal Discord channel, as well as in the Optimistics channel, because I haven't posted there much really lately. We're mostly using the Optimism Fractal Discord channel. And I also posted in the Optimism server and the show and tell. And then I also did a promotion in the Optimism discourse under this thread here, the Optimism Fractal weekly event. This is where we post our weekly updates as well as every new video that we produce. And then I also was been very active on Farcaster today and yesterday, but I kind of forgot about it for a week. And so I promoted the event in the Optimism's channel, both of the channels. It's actually a thread with comments, also announcing about the time change, and inviting people to today's event. And also on Twitter, we posted a similar message here. I also worked on some project about updating the Optimism Fractal website, the main page more so, with some screenshots and some recommendations on how to improve it and make it better. And I'm due to present it more so to Dan and discuss it further, but I was kind of working on that. And I was also working on catching up with the production on the Optimism Fractal videos from the past few weeks. And I've been going back and forth with Dan. He's been providing feedback on the thumbnails as well as the description on the title and the in the description of the YouTube video too. And I've been working on that for Optimism Fractal 14th and a few other ones like 13 was the one that we just did. And I also did this promotional message which you saw, but this is a close-up. And for Eden Fractal, I attended Eden Fractal, and Eden Fractal is an event that happens every Wednesday, and Dan is the host. Eden Fractal actually just found out its mission, and I attended this event where I also edited the video from that event too this week, and I did some work on producing, catching up on the videos for Eden Fractal too. Where I was working on some of the thumbnails again. And this is pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you,
I can
Rosmari.
explain more what Eden Fractal is, probably, if it's of interest, maybe after. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Well, yeah, I'm very excited Eden Fractal too, and it's been a pleasure working with you over the past weekend. 10 days. I think there's more too. Maybe you didn't add there. I kind of remember other stuff, but anyway, I see Zaal is on, and it seems like he's ready to go too. So I don't know if Zaal wants to go next now.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I feel like you guys always catch me on my phone and I always have to switch over to my computer to share something. So, what's up, everyone? I'm super excited. I've done a lot of random small things in the last couple of weeks. But basically, I'll kind of do a quick overview of all the things we're working on as a team. So, the first one is Wave WarZ. This is an on-chain music battle that is 2 contestants, 3 rounds, and they go back to back presenting some of their best songs and sharing that with the community and what those songs mean to them and how they were created and their narratives. We've currently done 1 episode, and we are working on doing a second one, not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. And this week we spent some time ideating on how to utilize the super votes. So initially, we had it set up so that anyone could buy a $1 Optimism NFT that gave them a digital collectible, a raffle ticket, B, and then C, an opportunity for the artists to use an extra vote in one of their 3 rounds. We realized that this was a little confusing for people, but then B, also someone could spend, $50, and if there was only 40 people in the group, that they could kind of buy the competition and it'd get like a little less fun. So this week we've been ideating on different ways to combat that. So we had a tokenomics meeting yesterday that we are going to start having weekly on Wednesdays for our collective as a whole, but specifically targeting this event right now to try and get this rolling. And we've come up with a couple different ideas that we're trying to go through, either some sort of max cap for the super votes or a bonding curve of some capacity, so that something like a quadratic voting type of model. So we're trying to figure out ways to combat one individual, one whale coming in and ruining the fun. So that's kind of where we're at right now with Wave WarZ. Secondly, we are planning um, a event called Zao Palooza for NFT NYC. This is going to be a welcome. It's an artist showcase and networking event. Welcome to NFT NYC on the first day of New York, with the goal of showcasing 12 to 15 musicians in Web3, but also being a place for musicians to come meet other people that are going to different events in New York, and also hopefully showcase Web3 technology to individuals who don't really know A, how Web3 works, or B, what the different things we can do with Web3 are. The goal is to also have some sort of booth set there to help onboard new Web2 individuals who are really interested in Web3 but don't know A, where to start, or B, like what you can utilize with blockchain technology. Because I think when you explain to individuals who are in the traditional music space, they see lots of solutions to the problems in the traditional music industry with the blockchain space. So very interested to have that discussion, very excited to just get more people excited about the music space. I think there's lots of opportunities because the concept of Web3 is getting rid of those intermediaries, and there's a lot of intermediaries in the traditional music space. So that kind of leads us into our collective. We initially had this organizational chart for a future DAO, the vision of our collective and where we would be, essentially creating tooling for musicians to utilize blockchain technology. This is kind of like a general overview of how we'd want to set it up in the future. But as things have changed and we've done a lot of different things, we're kind of starting to go away from this flow and more build out from this, because this was made a couple months ago, and now we've had a lot of cool ideas from the community that have come through. I also am trying to work on different ways to implement optimism in any way I can for the NFT NYC event. Not 100% sure how we'll do that yet, but I would love to ideate on that with anyone at any time. And then I invited a couple other people yesterday in our ETH PDX group to Optimism Fractal, talk to them a little bit about the respect game and how we as a Zao are trying to implement something of that sort to try and give community points to musicians in the Web3 space that are doing good things and contributing to the Web3 music space. So that's about my time. I could always talk for forever, and I could talk about this for a lot longer, but I appreciate it. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Saul. That's super cool. And yeah, I've really enjoyed joining the Zao meetings and learning more. I see Rosmari wrote Retro PGF is waiting for you. So super cool and love to hear more about it. Do you want to go next, Natalie, or do you want me to go next?
Feel free to go. I'm over here whipping up the last of my coffee. I'm doing bougie coffee today, so go ahead.
Okay, I don't know what bougie coffee you said?
I got whipped cream and all the accoutrements.
Oh, kucha. I don't know what the accoutrements is. Does bougie stand for like bourgeois? Is that like really nice, like classy
Yeah,
coffee? Okay.
yeah, classic coffee, not
Oh,
Starbucks.
okay. Okay, very cool. Well, hope you enjoy the coffee in class and style. And I suppose I'll go first while you're drinking, then you can go after that. All right. Okay, I will go and share what I've been up to. I'm trying a little bit of a new thing today. So here I go. Here I go. Okay, so I've been working a lot with Optimistics, and then another project I've also been working on too is called Fractal Joy. It's another initiative that's aiming to support Optimism Fractal and the Optimism Collective. That maybe I'll get into it, but I just kind of put together like a quick website here. It's I'm envisioning it as an educational institute and grants foundation dedicated to spreading joy with consensus games. So I just put together a quick website and then referred people to Optimism Fractal and Optimistics. So it's not really the main thing I'm working on, but I put together a website a little bit. The thing that I said I'm doing different this week is, and I don't see the timer, by the way. I don't know if my timer, where it is. It went away once I shared my screen, but I'll try to just keep an eye on it and let me know if I go over. Um, so yeah, the thing I'm trying to do differently this week is I've been talking with the Optimistics, and the Optimistics actually just launched a fractal, like an Optimistics fractal, because we're trying to experiment with using this fractal software for like internal Optimistics team operations, and we're trying an asynchronous version of the respect game as well, so that we just share it in text over the week, and we think this can be a really helpful application for many people, as well as sync well with our work with Optimism Fractal. So up here, I wrote some thoughts about like the best way to do this, basically, that I don't have to get into right now. But I'm just trying to figure the best way to do that. And below, I tried just making a database of just all the different ways I've been contributing to optimism and with Optimism Fractal and Optimistics, basically. So, and then there's like toggles here. So the toggles in like the main kind of categories that I summarize here is like relationship building and messaging, Optimism Fractal promotions and storytelling, setting up a structure for optimistic promotions and marketing hub. That's something that Rosmari has been working on a lot. She didn't mention actually. And then creating the missions to start Fractal Joy, which I just mentioned, and then technical projects, and then Eden Fractal and optimistic stuff. So maybe I'll just give like a high level overview of these. I'd say a big part of this week has been just like messaging people a lot and also building up relationships. So I went to Eth Denver for 3 days over the weekend or 4 days over the weekend, and I met a bunch of people. I met, for example, Hodlon and Alex and Abraham from from Optimism Fractal, and we were hanging out for a while. I met Kevin Owaki from Gitcoin and Green Pill and spoke with him about Optimistics, and Griff Green from Giveth, and Launamu from Optimism. And I spoke a lot with the Hats Protocol founders and several people. And I spoke with the founder and one of the leaders at Cabin, and all sorts of people who are doing like really cool stuff. I can go into more details about all these relationships, but people who are doing like amazing work, told them a bit about Optimism Fractal, in some cases a lot about it, and learned a lot about different projects that they're building. So that's kind of just like a high level overview you can see on the screen about a bunch of amazing projects, but I only have 4 minutes, so I don't know how much I can go into detail about each of these. But nonetheless, it was really, really cool. I also introduced myself in like a lot of the Optimism chats too, and shared a little bit about me and Optimism Fractal and so forth in these chats, and like kind of put myself out there to meet people in the Optimism chats. And then I responded to Gabriel and Zug had joined last week at Optimism Fractal. They were really cool. So I was going back and forth with them, helping them both create a proposal. I created a proposal on their behalf to get Zook respect because there was an issue with his account, and then went back and forth about their work with Blockful, and Gabriel's got a band, all sorts of cool stuff. I responded to a guy named Adam Miller who leads the DAOs group along with Rosmari. That's something that Rosmari wrote a draft for as well. And so all these things, like I don't know if this is the best system because I have to like open these windows to show you. Normally I have kind of like a more cohesive presentation, but like I wrote a pretty detailed message about this too, but I have to go quick, so I won't get into it. But pretty detailed message about how Optimism Fractal can help DAOs. Pretty detailed message with a guy named Daniel Ospina, who is working with like an incubator for collaborative tooling projects. I messaged Zaal and I joined the Zaal last week, the meeting rather, and helped provide a little bit troubleshooting. I worked with Rosemary on all of the storytelling and all of the promotions that she shared. We went back and forth with lots of feedback, and I also worked on sharing some messages about announcing the new time and so forth, so everybody can be aware of the new time. Again, this isn't the best system because I have to like load the projects and stuff like that, but I put it out there, and I put out a tweet too that to help spread the word. So yeah, a lot of stuff like that. And then also I was working on this like promotional and marketing hub where we are kind of this is actually a faster way to open it, but yeah, basically like combining all of our work for like a content calendar and messaging templates and video sharing database and so forth, and then strategy, so we can get like really good at promoting all of our stuff and like a really good kind of system and so forth. So I was working on that a lot and curating some of these strategies. And then this Fractal Joy thing too, I've been working on basically a new kind of organization that can provide funding to people who join Optimism Fractal events based on the respect that they earn and how they use that respect. And then also like an educational institute, like doing courses on something called Mighty Networks that allows people to have memberships and learn in like a educational environment, the collaborative educational environment. So I've been doing that and doing a lot of research into like automated KYC solutions. And I joined the Optimism Grants Council office hours this week and spoke with the grants counselors about how we can raise funding for this and so forth. So I've been planning that out a lot, and there's a lot more I can go into there, but I'll just keep it there for now. And then I've also been working on technical projects to figure out how we can record each breakout room, working with Tadas on the ideas for Optimistic Fractal. I've been doing a lot of work on exploring integrations with hats protocol, which will allow people to get different kinds of cool roles based upon their respect. They can get hats. I actually got a cool hat from them too. And then I've been working on building the next version of the Respect Game app. So it's an all-in-one app. And I just messaged a couple of friends who might be able to help with that. And then also working on integrating Privy, which will allow people to sign up for Optimism Fractal and play with just like emails or Facebook accounts. And then I hosted the Eden Fractal event and worked on the Eden Fractal mission in addition to hosting the Optimistics event. That was probably a little bit over 4 minutes. Just one other thing that I guess I could share too is I worked a lot on the Fractal app. This is what I was sharing before, this like all-in-one app. So I worked on redesigning this article that shows how the app works if you're interested, and then also worked on redesigning the Respect game or the Respect article as well with the new changes like the council and so forth. So that's it. Thank you for listening. And Natalie, hope you have enjoyed or are still enjoying your Fuji coffee, and it's up to you whenever you're ready.
Now I'm over here like I'm about to be wired in about 5 minutes, so let's go. Um, I'm not gonna share my screen. I'll probably just put like a link in the chat, but happy to be here. So as I said in the main room, I'm working on a public goods funding platform, mostly for creative projects and social impact stuff. Those are kind of where my interests also lie. And we also need to, I believe we need to build up the cultural layer of the blockchain. That's how we get people interested and on board. I was also part of NFTs.tips, and we onboarded probably like 70,000 people to like the blockchain like over a very short period of time, and we ran rooms 24/7. This is like 2021 to 2022, and so just using that experience of not sleeping to to kind of activate this new thing I'm working on. I also lead social impact at Pizza DAO, which is kind of my main thing for this week of what I need to be working on. And so last year we did 153 cities in one day. We celebrate Bitcoin Pizza Day and just give people money to throw pizza parties, and that's a way to like onboard people in a fun way. We just did Eth Denver. We have a big party there every year with Ninja Turtles, and I think we spent $9,000 on pizza or something. And so, and we had really great kind of partners with ApeCoin, and so that was pretty fun. And so I'm not going to take up all the time, but I will post a link from City DAO, which is one of the partners we work with. And so yeah, so most of what I'm working on now is getting partners together, and then also situating all of our kind of parties for the social impact stuff. We did a big thing in South Korea 2 years ago, giving pizza out to like 300 senior citizens, and then we did some stuff in Uganda with a good friend of mine. And so we're just exploring and expanding to get pizza everywhere and to get people interested in crypto and Web3. And so that's it. That's what I do.
Awesome. Thank you, Natalie. Super cool. That was interesting. You said a lot of things fast there too. I know you said you didn't want to what?
Yeah. I can slow down. I'm good at speaking fast.
Yeah, I guess the coffee was hidden a little bit already.
It's zooming.
There we go. Cool. Well, I know you said that you weren't going to take the whole time, but I'd be very interested to hear if you did. I think you only took about half the time. So if you wanted to talk about it for a couple more minutes and just go into more detail about any of that or anything else that you've been up to, then we'd be happy to hear it.
Yeah, what if you have specific questions, that's cool. If not, like I'm happy to talk. I could talk about pizza all day. Unfortunately eat way too much. Yeah, so Pizza DAO started like 3 years ago, and we basically launched with pizza NFTs and with the sole purpose of getting people involved in crypto and Web3 through something fun, because everybody was being super serious and technological, and I'm like, most people are not going to be interested in that. And so we just use pizza as a way to like invite people into our universe that we call crypto. And so for 3 years we've been hosting parties all year long. But on Bitcoin Pizza Day, May 22nd, we host hundreds of parties in one day, and people self-organize. So it's been pretty interesting. We also kind of paid 300 artists. They got to pick a topping for the pizza NFT, and I'm peas. Don't ever eat peas on pizza. It's not a good idea, but it's kind of just a testament to being silly and goofy. And so we paid them to do these toppings and created these kind of little collage pizzas in our special NFT oven. And yeah, it's been pretty exciting to work on that project for all these years and still be around. And so yeah, this year we're hoping to double the amount of parties. And yeah, we're gonna be at NFT NYC. So if any of you are there, please let me know. And yeah, that's it. That's it.
All right, sounds awesome. Seems like there could be some collaborations with pizza at the Zao event in NYC NFT NYC.
One of those.
Yes, one of them. Okay, well, super cool. And I suppose one question I could ask. Well, first off, also Rosmari, did you set up the fractogram or should I set it up?
I can set it up.
Okay, okay, I'm happy to set it up too if you want, but you can go ahead if you feel like it. And then okay, cool. Sharing the Pizza DAO thing over here. Have you been working with pizza for since 3 years since it started, Natalie?
Yeah, I was there on day one. We found each other. We put up a random clubhouse room, a room about nothing, and started talking about pizza. And then this project came out of that. It's like 12 people, and then there's like 50 people, and then everybody wanted to do pizza. And so, funny pizza story. So yeah,
Interesting. Yeah, I see cowabunga and lots of Teenage
yeah,
Mutant Ninja Turtles on the X account.
we love
How
we
many
love the
people?
goofy.
Yeah, I like the goofy too. How many people are involved with pizza?
There's 300 artists that were initially involved in kind of creating the toppings and pizzas, and NFTs. I would say there's probably like a core of like 30 people that actually work on getting everybody payments. I work on impact. Some people work on kind of managing everybody or managing all the bits and pieces. And so we kind of just work like a little Voltron transformer to like get everything together. And so, and there's also other people that kind of pop in for our parties or do like little things. And so, yeah, it's pretty interesting. So.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, yeah, thanks so much for joining and sharing. I love I mean I don't know too much about I don't think I heard about Pizza Tab before, but I love the partying and the good vibes and everything like that. And I think that's really important. So I really appreciate your work and sharing with us.
Thank you for letting me share.
Of course. I see Rosmari shared the Telegram group. Do you have a Telegram account, by the way, Natalie?
Unfortunately, no, just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Uh,
I just joined the group.
okay, cool. Do you have an Optimism account as well? Or an Ethereum account?
I think I have. Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, cool. The way it's going to work is Rosemary's going to put up a question, or it's not a question, it'll be a statement, and it'll say, like, please reply to this message with your Optimism address. And then we'll just do as a reply to that, like either right click or hold down and put in the Optimism account there. And that'll be the account that the respect gets sent to if we reach consensus. You can see Zaal just did that, for example. Thanks for leading the way, Zaal.
Totally. I always love hearing more about Pizza DAO. I'm a big pizza proponent. Pizza is definitely my go-to food, and yeah, like we can get something happening for the event. I'm always down, even if there's something just happening for Pizza DAO during NFT NYC. Like I will come 100%. I will never say no to good pizza
No chain
or
pizza.
even pizza. It doesn't even have to be good pizza. That's the beauty of pizza.
I just got pizza just before the just before that call. Too loving pizza.
Me too. I had a lot of pizza. I think pizza was like half my diet or something when I was in Denver. Pizza and sandwiches and breakfast. Cool. Well, sounds good. And yeah, it seems like everybody's been up to really cool stuff. And I see, Natalie, you just put your message in there, but it wasn't as a reply to that message. So if you could please do that
Do I
again.
need
But
to reply to that? Okay.
yeah,
Give
yeah,
me
it's the
one
way that
second.
the software works currently.
My
Does anybody?
bad.
What's that? There you
I
go.
said my bad.
All good. Then that's an easy one to miss. And yeah, we're working on, I mentioned this new app that will make it much simpler than just using Telegram. So hopefully we'll have that in the next couple of months. But as is, the Telegram works pretty well with just a couple little quirks.
I don't mind. I like Telegram sometimes.
Cool. Same. Does anybody have any other questions or comments for anybody before we start getting into consensus? I see Rosemary put it at level 6, so you can feel free to vote now. For level 6, Natalie, is who you think did the most to help optimism recently. Um, so everybody can vote now, or if you have any questions or comments that would be helpful for you to better understand somebody's contributions, what they've been up to, then feel free to ask now as well. Okay, so it looks like everybody voted. Natalie has 2 votes, I have 1 vote, and Rosemary has 1 vote. There is votes for Natalie from me and Rosemary, votes for me from Zal, and votes for Rosemary from Natalie. Would anybody like to share? So we need to reach consensus, at least 2/3 consensus, in order for us to reach to receive respect. So right now we don't have consensus. We have 50% consensus on at most. Would anybody like to share their thoughts or advocate either way to sway somebody's opinion?
I just voted for Rosemary because that's how I got here. And so I'm doing a good job of promoting on Farcaster. And I usually don't pay attention, but I always follow you on there to see what you're posting. And so just wanted to vote for you because that's how I got here. So it worked.
Oh, that's so. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh.
Okay, well, it looks like Zal switched to Natalie as well. So Natalie, you got level 6. I think we all appreciate your positivity and vibes, and it sounds like you've done a great job with Pizza of onboarding a lot of artists onto Optimism and bringing people to be on chain and so forth like that. So, and I also really appreciate that you were that you joined, and we like to award new members especially, and then also that you're watching our videos too. That's super cool. So I'm glad that the promotions that Rosemary's been sending on Podcaster have helped and inspired you to join.
Thank you. I'm a little bashful. I could compliment better everybody else, but I'm a little bashful, so ironically. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, now we can go level 5. And now you can share who you think should receive the second most respect for this week. Who did the second most? Okay, and here we have Zaal had 1 vote, I have 2 votes, and Rosmari has 1 vote. Would anybody like to advocate either way? The votes are Zaal has 1 vote from me. I have 2 votes from Rosmari and Zaal, and Rosmari has 1 vote from Natalie. I'd be happy to switch to myself too to make it easier to reach consensus. I was thinking about voting for myself because I've done a lot this week, but also Zal has been doing like incredible work and organizing the whole Zao community, and I've been really enjoying those calls and like him bringing people together too. But I know Zal also got like level 6 and 5 and stuff in recent weeks too. So unless anybody wants to advocate either way, then happy to go either way. I see Zal's clapping and a heart from
Nah, you
Natalie.
got it. Switch it over to you.
Okay. Okay. No, thanks, Zal. I appreciate that. And but really great work though. It's been a pleasure meeting everybody in the Zao so far, and I'm really stoked for your NFT NYC event. I think that's gonna be really, really awesome. I think you're on a really great path.
Thanks. I'm really excited actually. It's like, I don't know, I did a lot of the research and like just finding good communities for like 8 months, and I'm excited to like be building now.
Super cool.
Yes, I see the progress even by comparing with the first weeks when you had the idea only in your head and you were sharing how you want to do the events, and all of that is coming together nicely. I wish you best of luck.
Thanks so much, Rosemarie. We'll have to get you over to one of the meetings one of these times since you're also a musician, huh?
Okay, yes. I need to just prepare. I also want to come to New York City, but that's another story. One day.
Sounds good. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard Rosemary play music or sing before, but she's very talented. So I imagine that one day she'll maybe be singing in Madison Square Garden with lots of fans listening and so forth.
Dan is a musician too.
That's right. Yes. Maybe we could jam together and we could do it at an event that's hosted by the Zao, and we can have some pizza as well sometime.
Yeah.
Let's manifest it. I love it.
Let's do it. Okay, cool. And it looks like Zal has consensus for level 4. Um, Okay, cool. I was also, by the way, Rosemarie, I've been working closely with Rosemarie, and she's been doing phenomenal work. I think that she got together her presentation pretty quick, 'cause I think that she left out a lot of stuff that she did this week. But I know she's earned a lot of respect because she's wowed people many times before, and Zal's doing really cool stuff. So I could have easily voted for Rosemarie too, but happy to vote for Zal here, and just really appreciate both your work in general.
Thank you.
Okay. And now, Natalie, this shows the result of the poll here, and then you can hit results can be submitted here, and you can hit the here button. And then when you do that, it'll open up optimismfractal.web.app. And then from there, when you hit the continue button, then it will automatically load it with the order of the accounts. So you'll see your account on the top and my account on the second top and so forth. And then once you log in and hit submit, then that will submit it on chain. And the way it
Oh,
works
I
is
do have something else to add to my presentation. I also DM'd a really cool individual, and she didn't message me back at Natalie. Just a little low-key jab. I showed you a DM on Twitter. I'm sure you have a lot, but now that I got you cornered in a room,
It's
it's a good
okay. I need
opportunity to be
that.
like,
I
I'd
might be
love to just
accountable
jump on
for
a
other things,
call.
but not answering my DMs. I'm bad. I'm really bad at that. I admit it.
Yeah, I've actually I've noticed there's so many people that struggle with that that piece of like the pie, right? Especially like good little reference there. But like I don't know, I'm just always on my phone. It's terrible. I mean, but I'm 24, so like I've just grown up with social media around me my whole life. It's so different to me, I feel like sometimes. But yeah, no worries. I just wanted to shoot you a reminder then.
I'm trying to like save or share this. What's going on? It will not let me. It says failed to load Web3. I don't know what's going
Are
on with
you
my
doing it
wallet.
in Telegram? Because I think you need to
No,
take it out of
I'm on
Okay.
the Chrome thing. Do I need to be on another thing?
I think you need to be in a thing you can log in your wallet.
Yeah, no, I'm on Google Chrome. Like
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
on
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I'm not on the app on my phone. I'm on Telegram on my computer.
Yeah, you should be able to do it on Chrome or any other device. I'm also getting a notification that says failed to load Web3 too. I've heard of
Okay, it's
that
not just
issue
me,
before.
right?
Yeah, although are you able to submit it anyway? Or does it not allow you to submit it?
It does not let me do that.
Okay.
I was able to submit it okay. I don't know about you, Rosmari.
Yeah, it
Uh,
says blockchain not ready.
Oh, I did have a thing actually, Dan, that I wanted to tell you. When you submit it the first time, right? There's a pop-up window, the second one that like says push it to chain and that stays up. And I've like a couple times submitted twice because I just didn't realize like the first one went through. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just curious if you guys have heard that piece of feedback and if we could do anything about it.
Yeah. So that happens for me too. There's been sometimes I've submitted it twice or three times by accident. It's not really a big deal. Like right now, the way it works is that Tadas goes and looks at it and he just makes like just counts it kind of manually. Actually, one of the block explorers called Block Scout just like automatically kind of puts them together so you can easily tell if one person submitted the same thing over and over again. And then he just goes and confirms that the 4 to 6 consensus or 66% consensus was reached in the room and just disregards the duplicates basically. So it's not a big deal. And
yeah,
that is something
but
that what's up?
the fees now are not 1p. It's $1.
Oh, it's a dollar. I'm not getting a dollar fee. Are you submitting on Optimism? I'm getting 0.00, like 0.000001 ETH.
I submitted successfully and I got $1. It was $1 something.
Oh, really? Did you submit on the Optimism mainnet or a different mainnet?
I
Did you
think
submit? What?
I need to check which account I'm on.
Okay. I remember a couple months ago you were like, "Oh, I submitted on the Ethereum and then you cost
Which
like
costed
$3 or
$4
something."
something.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll check now again.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, for me it was 0.000001 and it's going to go even lower with blobs, but I think that happens like next week or something with the 4844 or whatever it's called. Yeah, and as a general note, both to add on to the response to Zaal and also with this, what we're aiming to do is we're aiming to have that all in one app, and that will log in with, I think, Privy, which makes it so you don't have to choose between Optimism or some different mainnet. It just makes it really easy to sign in and sign it, and then there won't be like you won't have to deal with the different fees or deal with um, like um, things not being clear if you submitted already or going away. A lot of the stuff basically it's just been Vlad and the DOS building it so far, and they've also been working on doing other things like trying to build the future and stuff. So the app is it works well enough right now, but it has some little things that need to be fixed, and so we're aiming to just fix those all in the next version of the app in the next couple months and maybe make some notifications here as needed, but there are some things that don't work totally perfectly here. But it's all kind of just acceptable things that if you wind up submitting a couple times or accidentally have to change to Ethereum or Optimism, then things that are relatively small.
So my transaction is usually like $1 or like 50 cents. Mine's like 0.0003.
Interesting. Yeah, mine is usually basically free. I think the most it's ever been is like a few cents.
Huh.
So I don't know what that accounts for, but I know that there is the blobs, the 4844. I think that was happening next week, but maybe it happened already where the fees go down like by 100x or something. So maybe that already happened. Except for Rosmari didn't happen for Rosmari.
Oh, I submitted successfully. It's It is $1. I don't know how you're getting it for cheaper.
Yeah, I'm also a little confused. It's always been like 50 plus cents for me.
I'm a little bewildered.
Dan just got the in with the optimism chain somehow behind the scenes.
Yeah, I spoke with
So
Vitalik, and he works out some things on the roll up with Carl Flourish, and
that's what you did in Eth Denver, right?
yeah, right.
Oh,
What's
Dan,
up? What's up?
Dan, were you able to submit? Or was that?
Yes, I believe so. It looked like it was good, and now I'm just double
Okay.
checking it on the account to make sure. How about you, Natalie? Were you able to submit it and get past that Web3
It
issue?
it keeps saying blockchain not ready.
Okay.
Even though I'm logged in, I'm in all the things. So
Okay.
strange. Now it says
Interest.
failed to load, well, Web3.
Okay. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Have you tried maybe using a different browser, or
Yeah,
if
and
you're able to do it on a
it's
phone or anything, or
I don't keep MetaMask on my phone just for OPSEC reasons, but
Mhm.
I did try like another browser and it's still saying those things. But maybe I'll already updated this Google Chrome thing. I will troubleshoot this, but I don't
Okay,
know.
well,
Yeah.
also I think we have three or four because Zal, you're able
Okay,
to do it right, and I was able to do it, and Rosmari was able to do it. So as long as we have over two-thirds consensus, then we're good.
good.
2/3 submissions on chain.
Yes, two-thirds submissions on chain.
Yeah, which we have, so that's good.
Okay, sounds good. And Zal, you're able to get it too, right?
I think you've confirmed.
Oh, you confirmed already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Well, we have a couple minutes to just hang out, I suppose, before the top of the hour, and mm, I can see if the other breakout room is ready to go. But yeah, anyway, if anybody wants to just chat about whatever's on your mind, then feel free to do so, and
I
then we'll
have a
hop back into the meeting room
question,
shortly.
Dan. Is there a solid way to record breakout rooms if you only have one person that's able to record? If that makes sense.
Um, yeah. So, well, what do you mean able to record? Do you mean
Like
like
let's
you
say
want to record from
I
Zoom?
was yeah, like I want to break out into people into two groups and I don't get someone to volunteer for the second group to record. Is there a capacity or have you guys found anything or are you guys just splitting up and saying like okay, one optimistics person will record the other meeting and that's just it is what it is. You need one person in each room. I'm just curious if you figured out anything on that end.
Yeah, so we've thought about this a lot, and we're also working on getting better because right now I don't think the other room is being recorded, for example. So there's lots of times that we miss
Oh,
the
okay.
recording, but we want to get it recorded. I meant to be speaking with Tadas about recording it. I'm not sure if Tadas started recording it yet. But yeah, basically there's a couple different angles that we're approaching this. One is setting up like a sort of a lead role where people like basically choose to be a lead, whether they're on the Optimistics team or not. Like anybody who's willing to record the breakout room could use that. And then with Zoom, as long as you set the permissions in advance, then you can let anybody record with Zoom. Um, Another thing that will work, I think, pretty soon is the app that I'm talking about that we're building. I actually just tested it out from a developer who works in our communities, and he built an app where it automatically records every breakout room and then it automatically posts it onto IPFS and similar things.
Mm.
So it's possible to have it where just every room automatically records. But that also will require the next version of software, which might be ready in a month or a couple months. It might be ready in a month, actually. We're trying to get ready for April. So that's something that could be a possibility as well. And then there are some other potential solutions too. Um, I was talking with the guys from LivePeer, which is a decentralized video protocol network at Eth Denver, and that might help too. But it probably doesn't need to be decentralized at this point, though, just for just recording. And I don't know, other than that, like the simplest solution, I think, is just finding somebody in the breakout room who's willing to record and then giving them permissions. Also, we're at the top of the hour, so I'm gonna close out the breakout rooms, and we can all head back to the community room. Hope that was helpful and answered your questions, Zaal. And if you want to follow up that, feel free. And hope you enjoyed the room, Natalie. And thanks so much, everybody, for the awesome
It
respect
was
game.
awesome. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, no,
Awesome.
Dan, that app sounds really cool. Definitely excited to check that out as you guys get closer, because we could definitely utilize something like that.
Okay. Super cool. Well, I love it. And let's talk about it soon. And I'll see you back in the breakout in the community room.
100%.
Maybe we're waiting for each other.
We're heading over.
Here we are.
Actually,
Okay. Sorry we took a minute to get back. Hope that everybody enjoyed your time in the first breakout room.
Did you take that long to reach consensus, or?
No, we reached consensus like 5 minutes ago, but then we had some issues with the technical stuff. Like Natalie, for example, was getting a Web3 not loading error, and so we were trying to troubleshoot that. And then Zal was asking me about the video sharing and stuff like that. And I didn't realize we went a minute over time. All right, so everybody, we just concluded the respect game portion of this meeting. So I hope everybody had a great time. I hope that everybody was able to post consensus. Everybody in our room except for Natalie, she had the issue, but we had 3 out of 4 consensus on chain. Hope that everybody else had on-chain consensus in room 1 and had a fantastic time. And now we can, if anybody needs to go at the top of the hour, we're there. So anybody can feel free to leave too any time, of course. But what we're going to be doing for the next 25 minutes, half hour or so, is the planning session. So basically the planning session, maybe I'll just do a quick screen share here just to give a little update for anybody who's not familiar. Basically, this planning session lasts until midway through the hour and provides a place where we can brainstorm and coordinate and create the future of Optimism Fractal. So basically, we don't really have a topic planned. We're thinking about having like some sort of thing where you can vote with respect for topics. People can always do that on the snapshot page, but we haven't yet like set that up and started to do it much. So we can kind of just have an informal discussion here. And the way we did it last week, we had the Optimism Fractal Notion page over here, where people can just go ahead and well, you can see all the projects we're working on, like lots of different, or not all, but just a bunch of projects we're working on here and different tasks. So we can discuss any of this if we want. And the past couple of weeks, what we did was we just used this Optimism Fractal Topics database here, where we just upvoted different topics, and like you can hit the upvote. If anybody's not here yet, I think there's a few people who aren't in this Notion page, then happy to give access to this Notion page where you can write stuff and leave comments and stuff like that too. You just need to just PM me your email or something like that, and I can give you access right away. Or if you want to just talk about it, we don't necessarily need to use this. This has just been the system we've been using because Notion released this upvote button feature where we can just like kind of one person, one vote on topics. And these upvotes are from last week too. We already kind of discussed these too. So here's some ideas that we might want to discuss. And I'd be happy to suggest some ideas if nobody has anything in mind about what to talk about. But otherwise, just curious to hear what's on everybody's mind. Is there anything that anybody wants to talk about or propose as a topic right now?
I actually was thinking about something this week about possibly creating a referral program where we reward people who have invited someone with respect. I thought about this week, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Because that way we'll give respect to whoever has invited someone else. And that way we'll just show appreciation that way.
Yeah.
Because for example, I know Hodlon invited a few members, and I personally, for example, would like to, if it was my choice, I would think about giving some sort of respect for that, because I think it deserves. So I was just thinking, what do you guys think about referral programs where we, for example, agree on a specific respect to be given out for invitations, something like that.
I like the idea of if somebody is invited and comes, and then they themselves reach a certain threshold of respect, Right? So it's like if somebody comes for one session and then never returns versus like somebody's invited and then ends up becoming a part of the community, and they end up reaching a certain threshold of respect. I think that makes sense. But yeah, like parameters around it. Because what we don't want is for incentives to be just like to shill for the sake of shilling.
Yep, that's
Those are my
true.
thoughts.
Oh, were you saying that's your thoughts, Hodlon? Were you saying anything else there?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, cool. If anybody else wants to share some, oh, I see Tadas is going ahead. Tadas.
Yeah, I think we definitely want to avoid people who invite new people. Well, so far we in Eden Fractal, what we have been doing is that people simply share that as a contribution. I don't know if Hodlon you've been doing that, but I think you shouldn't, at least until we have a system like this. And generally, I'm kind of skeptical about ideas to have additional ways to award respect besides the respect game, because that might not make it clear, like, is something a contribution in a respect game, or is it accounted by some other system? But I don't reject the notion of having a separate system for referrals, because yeah, it would allow, like Hodlon mentioned, to award people for inviting members who stay more, because that should be awarded more.
Yeah, very interesting ideas. I suppose I can go ahead and share more. Oh, I see maybe Hodlon unmuted us, so if you want to go ahead first, then feel free. Otherwise, I can go.
No, yeah, I just had a follow-up thought on that. I think that's a good point about it would set a precedent for rewarding respect outside of the respect game. And so, you know, being like taking that into consideration of like, oh, well, are there other actions as well that we would be open to rewarding respect outside of the respect game, or should we just agree that everything should be inside of the respect game, and like considerations around that and pros and cons, I think is what that brings up.
Yeah, it's a good point and good discussions. So yeah, I'd be careful about like adding things in that are different ways to give out respect. And I like the idea of, obviously we want to grow the community. When more people join Optimism Fractal, that can be much better for everybody. And so we want to invite more people and encourage people to invite their friends. That's helpful both for the friends who are being invited and Optimism Fractal as a whole and Optimism. Um, but at the same time too, though, like that our system for the respect game already works pretty well because you can subjectively assess that. And for example, if somebody's building a really helpful tool, then that could also be like really helpful too. But if somebody's getting respect specifically for like inviting somebody, then well, like what's to say that there shouldn't also be respect just for building that tool or for like I don't know doing that code commit or doing some sort of other contribution. Like it's one kind of contribution, and like we don't want to overweight one kind of contribution. And also there's like beauty and simplicity as well, where like basically it's just a very simple system where people come and they share what they did, and then people can weigh those two things against each other. Whereas if there was an additional referral system, then people might have to just like consider the extra thing, and it might be more complex during the breakout room to think about, well, should they receive less respect in their respect game because they also received a referral or something like that? Um, so yeah, I'm apprehensive about adding it, but I also see the value in it too. And I think that like having a like a strong leaning towards simplicity is something that is good that we should do. Like try to just keep things as simple as we can while also providing the max value. But at the same time, too, though, I think that we should experiment with other ways to give respect to. And maybe different fractals can do it differently or something like that. But well, the original intention of Fractally, which is a white paper and an organization that created the consensus process that we now call the respect game. In that white paper, there's a big part about social media rewards, and the idea was that or social media awards, I suppose. The idea was that once you get like the respect and you have like a trusted group of people who are earning respect and they're respecting at live meetings, then those people can do so much more than just meet once a week and award with each other with respect at that point, because they can use that respect of like kind of a root and a foundation to give more respect and to interact all throughout the week. So the idea in that white paper was that like there were several pages, probably 5 or 10 pages devoted to a fractal social media system. And I've been thinking about that a lot now that Farcaster is working well and growing a lot, and it's all open. It's all like interactive, so you can code with it and you can build algorithms that people could award respect. So I was thinking about like I've been thinking about this a lot, basically, that I think it's a good idea for Optimism Fractal to consider, basically, where we can set up algorithms where people earn respect, and we say like in the Optimism Fractal channel, which I created recently, or the Optimism channel, or if we want to support people, I don't know, doing any kind of thing that Optimism Fractal likes. I was even thinking about like fun channels, like I don't know, like musical channels, something like that, like because we want to encourage people and award people respect for doing helpful things on Optimism, basically, and that's a way to do so. People don't have time to join the event, and they could earn respect by making posts that people from Optimism Fractal like on social media, maybe. So that's something to consider too. I don't know if it's ready for that, and that kind of goes along with the referral too, but it's also kind of another idea about just external ways to earn respect in addition to the referral system. But I appreciate Rosmari bringing up the referral system too, and I'm definitely interested in discussing that. But I just don't know how it would be implemented and so forth. Curious, Jason?
I think that there's got to be an intermediary step that makes sense for a person who understands the idea of retro PGF, understands the general premise of Optimism DAO, and stuff like that. That I think that recruiting for its own sake, for shilling's sake, is a negative thing, and the appearances of that are less negative than the realities, but they're still negative. So I wouldn't want to set up a recruiting program that turns into something negative. But at the same time, I think that Rosmari has a good idea about setting rewards to incentivize people for the behaviors of educating newbies, of finding people to educate. I think that's among the greatest public services imaginable, is just public education. I didn't really quite get to that point in the respect game that we just played about funding public goods, and through optimism and through consensus. And I think that the common knowledge and common education is among the more valuable things. It's the valuable thing that leads to so many other valuable things, and that recruiting people to get them, I guess, familiarized is that work. So I think that it only makes sense. It's just a matter of how.
Yeah, very well said, Jason. I agree. There's a big need both for Optimism Fractal and the Optimism Collective and really everybody in the world to help people get on chain, to help people get on Optimism, and so forth. And so we want to make sure it's done in a careful way. Like that could be hugely beneficial if we were to set up some sort of referral program where we got where we talked to the attention of like really authentic and great people who wanted to help and contribute in good ways, and it could help educate people about the benefits of Optimism and Optimism Fractal. But at the same time, too, though, we have to like design it carefully to figure out the right way to attract the right people with the right intentions and so forth.
I think that's where the question of how becomes more interesting, because there are so many levels to that. That's like it's in the details, right? The generic approach to recruiting, I think it's a direction that belongs. And that the question of how, the stepping stones of the how, right? The public good of education is the universal good. I think people agree. As long as, I mean, education can be fun too, but that familiarizing people with this opportunity and what the goal is and stuff like that. Social enterprise and social responsibility and corporate behavior that is good for public goods, I think could use more education. And that's kind of this is why I'm interested in it in the first place.
Yeah, good points. I agree. And yeah, another thing I suppose I can note is that the current system we have too, maybe we could also just explain that better as well and just make it more clear. Like with the respect game, people can join the respect game, and you will earn more respect if you invite friends. Like if you go to the respect game each week, you say, "Oh, I invited a friend," or "I invited 3 friends," or and they join or something like that. Then, from what I can tell, like generally, I've seen a lot of people get respect for that reason. So that's something we can also make clear, just like in our promotions, and then just everybody in general who's here or might be watching. It's a great way to earn respect to invite friends, and it's much appreciated as well. I see Tadas has his hands up too.
Yeah, I agree. One way to avoid inviting new people is by respecting, but I think it would be good enough except for one thing. It does not capture that how long, like if invited member stays for longer and contributes more in the future, then I think it's a more valuable contribution that you invited that person. So, and I realize that this might be a general weakness in the kind of respect game that we play, that it sometimes value of impact of contribution sometimes becomes visible later. Yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe OPF3 idea that I shared in the past meeting might help account for that, because yeah, so basically at the end of a season you would have a poll where any team, or maybe it could be individuals, could list a project. You could add a project to a poll, and people would distribute their respect among options in a poll. And so maybe they could create an option for education or spreading the word about Optimism Fractal, and in that we could describe like what we did, like invited that many members, talked to that many people, and so on. And respect holders would vote with their respect on in that poll, and we would maybe, this would be a way maybe to evaluate long-term value of contribution, and maybe it could account for a referral system kind of thing. Maybe it would not result in awarding more respect, but it would result in an information which could be used for retro PGF to reward people, as I expand on in OPF3 idea there.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing, Tadas. I want to just put a couple of things. One, Tadas has raised his hand a couple of times too. So if anybody wants to share their thoughts that hasn't had a chance to speak yet, feel free to raise your hand and you make sure you get to speak. Or if you want to jump in, that's cool too. But we'll just make sure that you can speak if you want to raise your hand. And but either way works. And then I also wanted to respond to a couple of things to what you were saying there, Tadas. One, I do think that the system currently does account for that pretty well, because like we can subjectively remember. And by that, I mean, like, if somebody invited somebody a long time ago who contributed a lot, like, we can remember subjectively that, hey, that person didn't just invite somebody who joined once, but joined a lot and became like a contributor. For example, Hodlon invited Zaal, I'm pretty sure. Hodlon's been here since like the beginning, since like the second meeting basically, and he invited Zaal and many other people, and now Zaal has been joining every week. I think he just had to go. He said he had to run, but excited to hear more about this. But he's been contributing a huge amount, and like he's doing the respect game with the Zao, and he's doing all sorts of cool stuff. So I feel like subjectively we can remember, like, okay, well, Hodlon probably deserves more respect in general, because even though he invited Zaal 4 months ago or whatever, that's still something that Hodlon did uniquely that like it just kind of like paid off for the community in a big way so far, at least, like, and that it's more than just inviting just a person who showed up once. So that's something to consider. And then also I had a bit more thoughts, but I see you raise your hand, so I'll pass it back to you and then I'll share my other thoughts afterwards. And I see Rosmari raised her hand too, so I'm curious to hear Rosmari's thoughts after Tadas.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that this works out in that person getting more respect in the respect game, because I think we tend to forget that kind of contribution, like inviting new people, because usually in the respect game we share what we did over the past week, and that's what we ask people to do. But this, yeah, we can remember, but it kind of goes against that prompt that we used. What did you do over the past week? We are kind of flexible with that prompt already, but I don't know if we should promote being too flexible with it.
Good point. I agree. Rosmari, do you want to go next?
Yes, I like the idea about the making a poll for an additional way to get respect, such as presenting a case for invited members and their contributions. I was also thinking, I agree that there has to be some parameters set to how many times that the newer member joins. And maybe I was thinking, for example, one parameters can be by the time that the newly invited member reaches 100 respect, then whoever invited them can get the respect that is maybe that's some sort of a multiplier by the person that they invited, and that they can get that through a poll, for example, with the vote from the community, and can get that distributed in a way. So I think setting a parameters for a certain respect threshold, that can work. I have to think about it more or we have to think about it more, because I don't know how this would work, but there might be some good use case for that.
Good points, Rosmari. I think Jason raised his hand. Jason?
Yeah, exactly. The how-to of it is difficulty, and that to incentivize the behavior of familiarizing new people with it and bringing them up to speed, it having a separate approach to it from the respect game, because it is separate, because it's an onboarding ramp, right? It's not the game itself. To use the game itself as a ramp makes it something into a different, I guess, a slightly different thing than what it currently is, and that you can still build that around that, though. You can still build that around that. There's still the same person who wears one hat and wears a different hat, and then for 1 minute you're going through the respect game, and then for the other it's the respect multiplier, or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm. Good points. A very interesting discussion. First off, the scheduled time's over in like 7 minutes. I want to share a couple points that build upon this. So yeah, one, I think it's worth exploring the idea of like a recurring percentage of like the respect that people earn. I think that's been mentioned a couple times about I know there's some referral programs that are like you can get a percentage of what other people get, and imagine if somebody got like 1% or 5% or something like that of the respect that somebody earned, because that could be like a long-term incentive where you're also like have an incentive to say, hey, join the meeting again and go earn more respect or something like that. Like that would be pretty interesting, because you want to get more respect for yourself too. So that could be pretty powerful. And then another note too, I wanted to put this into kind of like practical terms, and also remind people about something that I forgot to mention before too. So we're at a point now that we have our consensus process that was launched as of about a month and a half ago now, where we can actually put this into action if we want. I mean, it's good to have a discussion first, but if Rosmari, for example, you come up with some idea that you think it's like a good design that could work really well with this, and you think it's ready to go, or if anybody else does, then you can make a proposal. So before we were talking about how in week 13 of Optimism Fractal, the council formed. There's also week 12 where we're talking about this, and we've been doing stuff with the council for the past month and a half or so now. And if you haven't seen yet how this council works, you can watch these videos as well as look at the details page about how the council works. Basically, there's a consensus process now where every week we make a poll, where participants can register, and then the top 6 people who have earned the most respect, or the most respected community members according to like their respect earnings, who register in the poll will form a council. And then if the council reaches 4 to 6 consensus, or if there's less than 4 to 6, just 66% consensus, then we can approve a proposal. And I think that, I mean, it says here proposals can be approved to make changes to the rules of Optimism Fractal or change up the software implementations or signal the opinions. And so I think this basically fits in with this consensus process. There's also this part about making changes to the current respect distribution too, and minting additional respect. So if we wanted to, for example, go ahead and make a proposal now using this consensus process, then we could say, hey, how about for the next quarter or the next, I don't know, month or whatever it may be, we try a thing where we will mint 50 respect or 10 respect or 100 respect or whatever it may be to try out this new referral system. And obviously we'd have to like think about it and discuss like the best way to do it, but we could do that. And now we have like an immediate way to do that in this kind of incredibly neutral and democratic process too. So if anybody's not familiar with that, then encourage you to learn. Feel free to ask any questions. And then also another thing I forgot to mention, but that it's important to mention too, important to be aware of, is that there is this council process. We were in our 5th council now, I think, since we did that. And this week, there's only 3 people in the council. So in the past weeks, there was 5 people. I think Zaal and Hodlon and Abraham had joined the past. But in the one that just formed this week, it looks like it's just me, Tadas, and Rosmari. So that means if Rosmari can convince me or Tadas that she thinks it's a good idea, then we could have this pretty soon. We could have it like next week or something like that. And then also of note here too is that it's possible to like burn existing respect too or something like that. So say for example, if me and Tadas and Rosmari decided to approve this proposal, but then the next week somebody said, no, that wasn't a good idea, or let's do it with half as much or whatever, then you could do that too. So, but basically, yeah, we could do this now. And so, Rosemary, if you want to make a proposal, if anybody wants to make a proposal, then feel free. Or if you have anything else in mind that you want to propose for Optimism Fractal, any sort of respect distribution or any kind of community opinion or anything like that, then you can do that. And then also, I don't know if Das or anybody had the chance to make a yeah, Das says we can improve whenever, but who will implement it? That's a bigger question. We can just go ahead and approve, and maybe somebody will figure it out. But yeah, that's something to consider too. There's a disconnect between approving it and doing the work to implement it. But I know some services that might be helpful. Like I know of a no code like token distribution tool that maybe we can hook it up, but we have to figure it out how to do it. But yeah. Also, one other note too is that so yeah, for the next week, me, Tadas, and Rosemarie are the counselors, and then we're going to be making a poll. I don't know if Tadas or Hodlon or anybody made it this week. If not, then I can make it later today. And then that's going to be the registration poll for the next week afterwards. So I encourage if anybody wants to participate in the council and approve or disapprove any decisions like this, or just in general, like for example, we use this for the time change, then I encourage you to register for there. Anybody who's earned respect can now register for there. And anybody can also vote on the snapshot poll too. Just if you want to if you want to make proposals or polls, anybody who has already earned respect can do so. And then the way it works is you just vote with your respect, and the most respected people who register for the council will be there. So far, there hasn't been 6 people who registered. So if you register for the council, you'll probably be on it. And then this is the snapshot page. I can share this again in the chat again, the Discord. This is snapshot.org/number/optimismfractal.eth. And I see Hodlon just made this. So thank you, Hodlon, for making this. You wish to join the Optimism Fractal 19 Council. So if you want to join, I see Tadas and Zal already joined. So you can just hit the yes button there and then vote and submit that. And then it'll be there. And you can see all the other ones. If you want to make a proposal, just hit new proposal and then you can write it in there and so forth. It is a minute away from the top of the hour, so we can wrap up anytime. I see Jason still has his hands up. I don't know if that was from before. Jason, do you want to share some thoughts here?
It was from before. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Cool. Well, thanks for the great discussion. I'm happy to go a bit longer too, or we can wrap it up at time and just be very punctual. Does anybody have any thoughts? We haven't heard much from Natalie or Abraham, so curious if you have any thoughts about this, or Jason, Tadas, Rosemary, Hodlon. Maybe you have any other things you want to share?
I'm simply just observing and listening. It's my first time, so I'm just listening.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I hope you've been enjoying the listening so far and enjoying your day.
I did.
Okay, very cool. Got a thumbs up from Hodlon. Hodlon's cruising. 2 thumbs up from Abraham. 2 thumbs up from Jason. Thumbs up from Das. We're going hands and thumbs up. There we go. We're having fun now.
All right.
We like the hands. All right. Should we wrap it up then, or anything else before we wrap it up? I suppose that's it. Just one thing that I kind of want to mention too before we wrap it up is I think that the first breakout room didn't record it too. That's something we were discussing in our room. So maybe for the future we should discuss, like, if we have multiple breakout rooms. So far just been me and Rosmari who have been recording. If people are interested in having the other room recorded or other rooms recorded, that's something that we should probably figure out. I can make sure to give everybody recording permissions in Zoom if you want to record future ones. Not a big deal either way, but it is cool to be able to see what people are up to, and that's one of the kind of things that we're offering, like in terms of people being able to promote their work and publishing it. So, and we were thinking this week about like posting those all on the Notion site as well as the Discord, so people could see all the breakout rooms and stuff. So that's something we can discuss another time. But I just kind of wanted to mention that briefly. But anyway, if anybody has any comments on that, then happy to hear it. But otherwise, I think we're all ready to wrap it up. I'll ask one more time. Any last thoughts, or should we wrap it up? We can go Optimism Fractal. Okay. Okay, sounds good. Let's do it. I'll count down, and then we'll say go Optimism Fractal if everybody's up for it. 3, 2, 1, 0. Go Optimism Fractal! Woohoo! All right, thanks everybody so much for being here. Really appreciate it. We'll be back at our new time, Thursdays at 17 UTC, and hope to see you there. Thanks all.
Bye.